It's your boy Uncle Fred. A little short video, kind of like a midweek report card, I guess, on your Cowboys. We're going to talk about the injuries leading up into the game against the Cardinals. NFL rankings are out. You get surprised. The NFL power rankings after week 2. QBR, interesting individual at the top of the QBR race, and then. We really got to talk about the disrespect the Cowboys are getting. It's becoming unbearable now. So, and then the Michael Gallup situation. They kind of hit on it on a couple of shows today. I listened to a couple of podcasts I listened to. Don't know it's really a thing, but we're going to talk about that here in just a little bit. So you guys just hang tight with your boy Uncle Fred, and we'll be right back in a second. What's good, people? It's your boy Uncle Fred back in the house, back in the saddle one more again. Please hit that like, comment, and subscribe. Not gonna trouble you long. There's just a couple of things that was kind of on my mind today as I was watching shows, and it's kind of a couple of things came across the news feed, and we'll talk about that. First, on the injury front, we played a game against the Jets, won 30-10, and we didn't escape unscathed. There were some injuries. We know that Zach Martin played the game. Was a game time decision with a groin. Well, he also aggravated an ankle injury in the game and missed a little bit of time. And but it looked like it was reported on 105.3 The Fan by Jerry Jones. I still got issues with him giving injury reports. That's kind of your head coach's job. Whatever, man. Whatever. But what they'll do with a vet like Zach Martin, they'll treat it. He won't practice none this week. I think they go on the practice field tomorrow. Tuesday's usually a day off, so he'll go to practice. He won't practice this week, but he'll probably play on Sunday. And but a couple other guys, Chuma Edoga, who was subbing for Tyler Smith, suffered an elbow injury right before halftime, and so he left the game. And then TJ Bass, I think I said Ball on the Sunday video, and I need my butt kicked for confusing TJ Bass with Josh Ball. They're not the same. But they're taking it day by day with him, as well as with Tyler Smith, who we have not seen this year because of a hamstring injury that he's sort of a strain, if you will, that he suffered in the last practice before the season started. So maybe he gets to play some, or maybe he'll get cleared to play. Also, Donovan Wilson, who got hurt in the very first practice in minicamp with a calf strain, and so we know they're taking it real, cautious with calves. I was telling somebody the other day, the calf injuries become, ever since the KD injury back in 2019, people look at calves a whole lot different than they used to. So they're not taking any chances. Cincinnati Bengals probably should take heed to that because, Jamar Chase had the idea, maybe we could just sit Joe for the first 4 games, get that calf good up and ready. Maybe you win 1 or 2 of your first 4 and you kind of see where you're at. But they chose to go ahead and play him. They're 0-2 with Joe Burrow. And after the last game against the Ravens, you see him on the sideline with this machine adjusting and poking and rubbing his calf. So I don't know. That don't look good. But I know Donovan Wilson, they're taking their time on this one. He may not play Sunday, but as they're trying to see what's going on here. And then finally, Brandon Cooks, who had a knee injury. Um, which I find hard in a 40 to nothing game, how you could get like a guy hurt because you after it was 33-0, which is the first drive of the second half. I'm pretty much sitting most of my starters. Okay. I wouldn't have played Brandon Cooks anymore, So somehow he got hurt on some random something or another. And so it caused him to miss the game against the Jets. And but with the Cardinals putting Buda Baker on an injured reserve, who's kind of their best player, so maybe Brandon Cooks will maybe try to give it a go. But really, to me, I think this is your Uncle Fred's opinion. I think pretty much all of those guys could sit this game if they wanted to, and I'm not disrespecting the opponent. I know Arizona's played gamely in the first two games they played, almost beating the Commanders and coming within one half of beating the Giants. And they could easily be 2-0 for a team that was looking at supposedly maybe tanking, but nobody's supposed to know about that. But anyhow. So if I had to pick any, I think I heard William Skywalker still say he would, if there's any of them, I want to see our starting 5 offensive linemen play and get some camaraderie as we head into these big games. We got this game this week and the Patriots next week. And then, of course, after that, that's that showdown on Sunday Night Football with the San Francisco 49ers. We'll talk about them here in a minute. But so to me, with the Cardinals being, I guess, one of the weaker teams, I think the Cowboys are favored by 13.5 or something like that, which that almost could be a trap game. That's why I say you respect your opponent. You go in there and, as Dak said, you either kill or keep captives, and we ain't keeping nothing. That's not the language he said, but this is a kiddie show, so we're not gonna. This is for kids, so kids might be watch this show, so I'm not gonna say that. We either kill or capture, and we ain't keeping nothing. So that's the attitude I would love for the Cowboys to have with this Arizona team. Go ahead and knock them the heck off the box and rest the rest of your guys and get ready for the New England Patriots, who you get back at AT&T Stadium the next week, which is kind of a homecoming for Zeke because he'll be playing with the Patriots. So that will make that game a little fun and a little weird too. So, all right, now for the disrespect. So after the first couple of weeks of the season, you have like a preseason rankings, which basically is based on what happened the previous year and maybe some moves that you saw teams make, players that are acquired, players that were lost, and you come up with an assessment based on that as to how the teams should fare going into the season, right? Then you have a couple of games, and then you kind of reassess where things are, right? So the NFL, after 2 weeks, has released its NFL power rankings. Now, I'm going to tell you something. Now, you would think that the Cowboys, who have got a shutout, the only shutout this season, I'm trying to remember, was there a shutout last season or not? I mean, I don't think they've had a shutout like this since like 78. I think I was the second year, I was watching the Cowboys, right? Roger Staubach was a quarterback then, right? So it's a long time ago. And then coming back with a 30-10 victory against the Jets. So with the Giants and the Jets, we got a 70-10 scoring defensive points given up ratio. So a 60-point differential. So you would think with the 2 wins that we've had this week and last week, that they would be number 1 team. Because now let's understand this now. This is not saying who's going to the Super Bowl. Okay. Nobody's saying that. And I will, go back and forth with anybody that says, oh yeah, we're just because we won 2 games, we're winning the Super Bowl. Now, I like how we look towards going to the Super Bowl after 2 weeks, but we know this is a long season, and so that doesn't mean anything. But I will say after 2 weeks, I'm trying to figure out how any team in the NFL looked more impressive than the Dallas Cowboys, right? In my opinion, okay? Because the Cowboys get things that happen to them with the national media that it don't happen with other teams. Like when the Cowboys, beat a team soundly, oh, that team wasn't no good. So you don't get no points for that. Okay. But you gonna give the 49ers points for beating the Steelers 30-7 in Heinz Field, but not give us the credit for beating the Giants 40-0 in their home opener in Jersey. I can't think of the name of that stadium. It'll come to me in a second. And if I was guessing, I would say the Giants may be a little bit better than the Steelers. I mean, I like the Steelers to some degree, but I think the Giants may be a little bit better based on their personnel. Quarterback has won a playoff game. You got, just about as good a defense. They got TJ Watt, but they got Saquon Barkley, and I think the Giants are a little better, personally. That's just my personal opinion, So, but the 49ers weren't like, oh, you beat a bad team, a team that didn't make the playoff last year. They didn't get those demerits taken from them like the Cowboys did for beating the Giants. Oh, that's the Giants. You beat them like that every year. Well, I don't recall them ever beating a team 40-0, but who am I? So a school of thought would be saying like, well, that's a divisional game. Y'all know each other. I said, okay, well, let's move up a week. The Jets played the Buffalo Bills in week 1, and but you played them without Aaron Rodgers. Yeah, but the Bills played that same team essentially without Aaron Rodgers, all but like 4 plays, right? And they weren't able to do the same things that we were able to do against that same team. But somehow we get points taken away from us because we played them without Aaron Rodgers, but the Bills don't hardly get any demerits taken from them for losing a game to a team without Aaron Rodgers. That makes sense, right? So not to ramble too long, but you look at the standings here in the rankings. You got the San Francisco 49ers at number 1. Now, I don't really have a beef with that, okay? I would have picked the Cowboys because I thought they was dominant in both games. The Cowboys have not trailed in any game. 49ers trailed for a minute against the Rams. Now, I don't think the Rams are that good to me. Now, I know they beat the Seahawks in game 1, which is a surprise, but, no Cooper Kupp, I don't know who their receivers are, and Matthew Stafford, I think on his last leg, how good are they really, No Jalen Ramsey, he played for the Dolphins now. Who do they really have, So I don't know. Cam Akers, they're getting ready to dump him. I think I heard the Browns looking at getting him becoming to Nick Chubb. By the way, that's a very gruesome injury that happened Monday night against the Steelers, reminiscent of that Willis McGahee hit in the 2003 national championship game with Miami versus Ohio State. Just gruesome. Prayers up for Nick Chubb, man. Obviously he's gonna miss the entire season, but that was disgusting, right? So the 49ers are number 1, and it says here beating the Rams was a gut check win. Gut check. Oh, I get it. Because they were playing a division opponent. That made the game closer than it should have been. Then how come we don't get points for beating the Giants 40-0? Okay, I don't even know why I said that. Gut check win in a lot of ways, even if for a few big missed connections that could have made it an even larger margin of victory. Dude, they won that game late. Some will hone in on Brock Purdy overthrows, but it came through with the touchdown drive before halftime and delivered some big throws in the fourth quarter TD march. I'm not worried about him, but the health of the secondary is getting a little scary. Oh, so you got some concerns about them, okay? Concerns about injuries and the health of the secondary. Incidentally, they just picked up uh, Anthony Brown. Yes, that Anthony Brown, our old cornerback too, Anthony Brown. Yeah, they just picked him up. So when we play them on October 6th, I think that's the day that is, Anthony Brown will be there too. All right. So, all right, moving on here. Number 2, I got issues. Kansas City Chiefs, number 2. I heard some chirping about my decision to drop the Chiefs with only one spot in these rankings after they lost in week 1. This is the guy that gave the rankings. They were back on the field week 2, and they each made their imprint on a gutsy win at Jacksonville. What was it, like 13-10? Pat Mahomes threw for like 305 yards and only scored like 13 points? Or 17 points. It was 17-9, excuse me, 17-9. I knew I'd get it in a minute. But I will say you're getting Chris Jones back and you're getting Kelsey back, so I do understand that, right? This one is the real shocker to me. The Eagles at number 3, all right? Even if the Eagles haven't fully hit their offensive stride, DeAndre Swift breakout game in a 34-28 win over the Vikings was a pleasant development, posting an interesting backfield challenge once Kenneth Gainwell comes back, okay? Now, look, all right, I'm going to go, and then they got us at number 4, okay, Dallas Cowboys. Whopping 60-point differential, okay? Offense can do more, converting on a half of its red zone opportunities. But they were 9 of 18 on third down against the number 1. That same defense that Josh Allen and the Bills went 5 for 13 on, but I don't even know why I brought that up. But they got us at number 4. Let me say this. I'm not going to quibble about the 49ers being number 1. Okay, because they are, they went to the NFC Championship. I know it's not each year the league changes. It's like 30% change rate with every year. Players coming and going. So every year a team is different. So I get it, but I mean the 49ers was dominant in the first game, and they played well enough and won the second game against the Rams, and they 2-0. All right. I'm not going. I got issues with it because if they ask me who's the most impressive team in 2 weeks, it's the Cowboys, and they ain't close, right? But I can see where you would say that 49ers. I can get that, right? But the Chiefs at number 2, I'm going to be honest with you, man. If the Cowboys right now were able to play the Chiefs right now, I don't think they could beat the Cowboys. I'm just going to be perfectly honest. And that's not me being a homer. I'm watching 2 games. I saw how they struggled offensively against the Lions. I know they didn't have Kelsey, didn't have Chris Jones. I get all that, all right? But I also saw us handle the Jets with Quinnen Williams. Now, Quinnen Williams is better than Chris Jones, okay? And there's other defensive linemen on that line, Carl Lawson, is it Aaron? Is it Aaron Jones? It's Aaron somebody. It's another defensive lineman on that line who's pretty good. And then the guy with 3 names. I said his name the other night when we were talking about their line or whatever. But they got a formidable defensive line, and we was able to hold our own against that. So I'm not trying to hear nothing about no Chris Jones was going to dominate our offensive line, because he's not going to do that, right? And I think our defense could handle them. I think that Mahomes would have problems getting ready to set up against them. Look, I don't like no quarterbacks faring against our defense. I don't care who it is. It could be Aaron Rodgers. It could be Brock Purdy. It could be Jalen Hurts. It could be Joe Burrow. I don't like none of y'all's chances against our defense. I just don't. All right. And right now, I don't know what will happen later in the year. Maybe, the Chiefs figure their stride out and get their stuff together and start playing better. But we're talking about right now, as we sit right now, the Chiefs are not better than us. Okay? They're just not. I'm sorry. I wouldn't see any reason why the Chiefs would beat us. No way that they would beat us. All right? Not right now. not what I saw these first couple of weeks and that sort of thing, right? And then you got the Eagles. That was the biggest disrespect because I watched the game against the Patriots, right? They got a pick six, all right, from Darius Slay. Mac Jones kind of threw one kind of slightly behind him, and he picked it off. If he don't do that, they lose that game, okay? Jalen Hurts was not great in that game, okay? He just was not. He was not. I think he threw for like 140 yards and stuff like that. But because they got a defensive touchdown, and I get all that, and if Keon Butte could have got his foot down, we might be having another story. But I know if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk. I get it, right? But they weren't good. Then you follow that up with the next week against the Minnesota Vikings in Lincoln Financial. I'm gonna tell you something. The Eagles fans was booing them because Jalen was he's missing throws. The offenses wasn't good, and they were getting stymied. It wasn't good. They weren't not looking good. And I mean, they threw a couple of touchdown passes. I think Devontae Smith had one where Harrison Smith. I don't know what kind of defense he was playing. He just because the corner thought he had safety help. He never left beyond 15, 20 yards of the line of scrimmage. Let Devontae Smith get right behind him. That was a pitch and catch. That's like definitely a busted coverage. And right now, I'll be honest with you, the Eagles. I'm gonna tell you right now, the Eagles, we would beat the Eagles by like 15 points right now if we were to play them. Right now. Because they've not been impressive against the Vikings, who are 0-2, or the Patriots, who are 0-2. 5-point win and a 6-point win. Meanwhile, we just beat our two opponents by 60. The Giants are better than the Patriots, okay? The Jets might be better than the Vikings. I don't know. Maybe not. It would be close, right? They're 0-2. They're both 0-2. So, no, the lowest the Cowboys should be is 2. But if I'm giving the rankings, they number 1. Okay. All right, so that disrespect is what it is. Then, of course, we get ready to close the video, and I know we talked about, Dak Prescott. Dak Prescott had a great game Sunday, 31-38, 255 yards, 2 touchdowns, no interception. An almost interception, what everybody likes to harp on. But, again, if was a fifth, we'd all be drunk, right? But the QBR rankings, and he and Brock Purdy are 1 and 2 in the QBR rankings. I know Skip Bayless will love to try to nitpick that because I know he loves QBR. But Dak Prescott sitting at the top of that. And incidentally, Dak Prescott will play in his 100th game in this game against the Arizona Cardinals on Sunday. And he's the only player in NFL history at the 100-game mark to have 150 plus touchdown passes and at least 25 rushing touchdowns. So I mean, just says he's pretty good, man. He's pretty good, man. Pretty good. Yeah. All right, so here we're talking about Michael Gallup. Now, Sunday we had Brandon Cooks not play because he has knee injury. So you're thinking right away that Michael Gallup would move right into that number 2 receiver spot, right? And he would get some catches, right? And get your spot back because before we got CD and all that, it was Michael Gallup and it was Amari Cooper. He was number 2. Then we got CD, and so he was a number 3 guy. And then of course we get rid of Amari Cooper. So okay, now he's a number 2 guy, but he gets hurt, and then we got Noah Brown and whatever. And then no. So now we get Brandon Cooks in the offseason, but Brandon Cooks is dinged. So he gets to move up. But a funny thing happens on the way to the market. 2 games, Michael Gallup has 2 catches for 13 yards. I think I got it wrong. 2 catches for 13 yards. It was 1 catch for 10 yards against the Giants and 1 catch for 3 yards against the Jets. So 2 catches, 13 yards. Okay. he's going to be fighting off Jalen Tolbert. And although, like I said in my video Sunday, Jalen Tolbert only had like 3 catches for 16 yards. He had 2 big 3rd and long conversions, and he drew a pass interference in the end zone, which led to a touchdown. For a guy that really didn't do a whole lot last year, but line up offside and catch 2 passes and not be able to grasp Kellen Moore's complicated, don't make sense offense, right? But he's making his strides right now. So, hey, man, Michael Gallup's making about $13-14 million a year, too. And you got 2 catches, 13 yards. And you got Jalen Tolbert's up there making catches, key catches in games. And you know, and I've listened to it on some shows today. They were talking about, well, what does Michael Gallup really do? Because I saw them moving I see them moving Jalen Tolbert around in the office, moving around in different places. And they kind of talk like Michael Gallup really is not that kind of guy. And he really is just a guy who can get deep and maybe do like athletic jump balls and stuff like that. So I think Tolbert's ceiling is much higher. He's got a higher ceiling, and he has a bigger, what do you call it, scope of athletic skills that you could take advantage of as opposed to Michael Gallup. Maybe Michael Gallup can be used down on the goal line and go up and get jump balls and stuff like that and use his athleticism and physical prowess or whatever. But I don't know, man. You know, Michael Gallup might, you know, I'm not saying he's on his way out, but you will start to see, as my thumbnail say, are we starting to see a transition, you know, from Michael Gallup to Jalen Tolbert? Is that, no, I talked about that in the preseason and in the training camp. You know, Jalen Tolbert was making some ridiculous catches. Michael Gallup was kind of quiet during training camp, didn't do a whole lot. You know, Tolbert was making one-handed catches, toe tapping his feet down and all that stuff. And I'm just saying, you know, we all been saying, man, shoot, if we get Gallup back, man, we getting ready to. Gallup been back. He's about 1.5 years, 2 years past that injury. I don't know, man. I'm not seeing it. And I'm seeing promise from other dudes. I mean, even Kevontae Turpin is making catches. You know, I don't know, man. But that's all I got today. Be on the lookout for that, kind of watch for that and kind of see what happens with the Michael Gallup. And who knows, maybe if Cooks don't play Sunday, maybe Gallup comes and he has 8 catches for 115 yards and 2 touchdowns. Who knows? And then all will be forgotten, right? But anyway, it's your boy, Uncle Fred. Please like, comment, and subscribe. Please subscribe. Please subscribe. Become a part of the Uncle Fred Sports experience. I guarantee you will not be disappointed. Probably be back on Saturday with my prediction show. With the game coming up against the Cardinals, and you probably can catch me on Saturday also with our Pick'ems show. So I might be doing 2 videos Saturday with Pick'ems. Where I pick me and TK pick all the games, and then do my pregame. Well, I might make my pregame Sunday. I ain't figured it out yet. We'll do it. But please like, comment, subscribe, and we'll catch you guys on the next video. God bless.